What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing. I just finished up watching Billam-Smith versus Mateusz Masternak, and this was a 12-rounder for the WBO Cruiserweight World Championship. And this fight was Sunday, December 10th, from the Bournemouth International Centre in Bournemouth, England. And this fight was broadcasted on Sky Sports. And in this fight, Billam-Smith was able to rally from being down pretty wide on the scorecards to getting ultimately a seventh round corner stoppage victory going into the eighth over over Mateusz Masternak. So this was a very solid win in the end for Billam-Smith, especially since he was down. Like, he needed to get a stoppage in this one, and he ultimately got it. So just to break down my scorecard and how I saw the fight going, I had it 68-65 leading up to the stoppage in favor of Mateusz Masternak. And just to break down each round by round, the first round, though, I gave to Billam-Smith. I thought that he was able to land some decent shots on Masternak. But then, really, after the first round, it was all Masternak. From rounds like 2 up until round 6, Masternak was just the one, just had a much higher volume of shots landed. He was kind of smothering Billam-Smith a bit. Billam-Smith was the one going forward, but Masternak would kind of clinch up a bit, pepper him with some good jabs. Like, he was laying some very good straight shots in those rounds. So, I mean, he really did a good job from rounds 2 through 6, and he sweeped all of those rounds, in my opinion. So after 6 rounds going into the second half, I had a 59-55 for Masternak. But then, round number 7, Masternak was doing good early, landed some right hands on Billam-Smith, but towards the end of the round, something interesting started happening. Billam-Smith picked it up, was digging to the body hard on Masternak, and then in the last 10-15 seconds, Masternak got bombarded with some solid body shots from Billam-Smith and looked a bit shaken up and was backed up against the rope. So, I mean, something definitely happened there which led to the stoppage of the fight, because in the corner, they were about to start the 8th round, and then his corner signaled, and so did Masternak, that he did not want to continue, and he was pointing to his ribs, so I assume one of those body shots hurt his ribs, maybe broke his ribs, bruised them, in any way that really made him think that he couldn't continue on in this fight. So it was a very solid finish there for Billam-Smith. But this goes in the question, what is next for him? He retains his WBO title here, gets his first successful world title defense. And when you take a look at the cruiserweight rankings for the WBO, we see Richard Riakporhe as number 1, and I think that's going to be next for Billam-Smith. I think that's going to be his next fight. It's going to be against Riakporhe, and Riakporhe is a very good fighter. But if not for Richard Riakporhe, maybe we could see Michał Cieslak take on Billam-Smith, another Polish fighter. And then there's also some other highly rated cruiserweights, but I don't think these fights are going to be next. But, I mean, I'm just throwing some names out there just in case. Marcus Brown, he's the number 5 ranked WBO cruiserweight. Dorticos is number 4. Gilberto Ramirez is also number 3, but I think he's going to go through the WBA route. But most likely it's going to be Richard Riakporhe next. Maybe Lawrence Okolie in a rematch at some point, but most likely Riakporhe. But as for Mateusz Masternak, losing here for I believe this is the 6th time in his career. I believe this was his first world title shot, and he's been in the game for a while. He's been fighting for a while, has over 50 fights, and I mean, this has got to be a tough loss for him. I mean, he was winning this fight definitively, and I mean, he got hurt to the ribs. I don't know what his thought process was, but I mean, he couldn't continue. So, I mean, for him, I think he's going to go back to Poland, maybe get 5, 4, something wins, like something like that, 3, 4, 5 wins against lower level guys in quick succession, like in a few months, maybe in a year, he'll have 3 wins, because he was pretty active in Poland. I mean, obviously, he didn't fight before this since 2022, but before that, I don't know what was going on in between there, but we saw him fight 3 times in 2021, and then obviously having that fight against Jason Watele in 2022. But, I mean, he's just been having those fights in Poland, getting some victories there, and I think he's going to go back to that, and maybe he might get called up for another big opportunity, because he's definitely still a pretty highly ranked cruiserweight, in my opinion. So overall, Chris Billam-Smith stops Mateusz Masternak after 7 full rounds completed in the corner due to brutal body shots from Smith. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.